Thank you to Logitech and Discord for sending us to PAX East 2016 this year. If you want to see all of their different products and services, check them out in the video description down below. Alright guys, we are not at a booth per se. This is the BYOC section. PAX in Seattle, PAX in Boston, PAX in Texas, PAX in Australia, all of them have like a LAN area. There's the LAN free play section, there's the console free play section, and there's the BYOC section, which stands for Bring Your Own Computer. It's actually really cool. I've been doing it for a little while now with some of my friends, and PAX Seattle. This is the first time I've done PAX East, and what we're going to check out is the top 3 modded computers of the BYOC section, and they're pretty sick. We're going to start off with a system that is close to my heart. I love fish tank systems. My claim to fame in terms of building computers was in a fish tank system because I filled it with oil. This one is done in a different way, but equally as cool in my opinion. So this system was built by Polish. You can see his name in the front bottom right hand corner, and is not filled with oil, is not actually filled with any liquid at all, except for the little smaller inner tank area which houses his fish, which is named Alpha the Beta, which is super great. I absolutely love that. In terms of hardware, he has the Intel Core 2 Duo Anniversary Edition, a 960, which is reference blower cooled so that it can get the air out of the fish tank so it doesn't just fish around on the inside, pun intended. He's got fish rocks all over the place, which actually helps him hide his cables, which is super smart. I wish I did that with my rig. It's a really good idea. Also, on the bottom left-hand side, under the rock behind the Polish badge, is a hard drive, and below that is where he hides his SSD amongst the rocks on the bottom. In and outside of the fish containing area, he has little fake fish plants, and the whole thing just looks aesthetically awesome. In terms of lighting, he has 2 cathode lights in the top, which are actually hidden behind the black plastic band among the outside, which is a really cool way to do that, and it's kind of hidden under the top of the lid as well. All of the I/O goes out of the top, which is probably what you would expect from a fish tank build, and I just absolutely love it. Easily one of my favorite mods I've ever seen. And then you have how it's put together. So for my fish tank build, which you can see up here, or for the one that we did for work way later on, which you can also see up here, we used laser cut plexiglass panels. What he did was actually a much more effective way, in my opinion, to be completely honest. He just velcroed on one of those kind of Bitcoin mining motherboard trays that people were building for quite a while there, that I think you can get from High Speed PC. I don't know where he got his. And then, yeah, he just velcroed it on. In terms of his motherboard, to keep it in place, he used a little angle bracket on the bottom, and then another little bit of velcro on the top, just to hold it in. Just smart, effective, cheap. Next up, we actually have 2 computers as kind of one feature that I'm going to cover here. These were both built by a guy whose tag is IamRoot, or @IamRoot. He had that name before the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, just so you know. The first one we're going to cover is the one that looks like a red iMac. This one was built for his son. It has an i3 in it, a 750 Ti, an SSD, and a 500 gigabyte hard drive. What's really cool about both of these rigs is how they look very much like old iMacs, even including the fact that their front-loading optical drive bays still work. It's not actually the original Mac one, it's an aftermarket optical drive bay, but it still works and it looks completely authentic, which is super cool. He did it in a stack formation, so there's a power supply on the bottom and then a motherboard above that, which is held up by some ready rod, and then everything just kind of sits there quite nicely in the back of the iMac. In the front, he has LCD panels that he bought on eBay, so these were bare LCD 1080p panels that are 13.3 inches. He then used a little custom PCB that he also bought on eBay, which was shipped from China, which converts HDMI to LVDS. It's a converter that costs $35. It takes 12 volt in and then is wired directly into the PSU for the 12 volt rail, and then just, yeah, you plug in LVDS on one end, take HDMI out of the other end, and you're good to go. In order to hold the screens in place, he created what looks like a plexiglass sandwich. So he has clear plexiglass on the front and then colored plexiglass on the back behind the panel, which matches the color of the iMac. So the red one has red, the purple one has purple. I think this is super cool. I love that he did it this year for his son and daughter. In the past, he's done builds for himself in a briefcase, and one of them was in a super old radio, and one of them was in a longboard. Just super cool. I love guys that do rigs every year. What he does, because that sounds very expensive, is he just reuses the internal hardware and builds a custom case around it. Very good idea. Next up is the Minecraft Creeper build, made by 8-Bit Builder, or also known as Thorcon, Thorkon. And check out his YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Thorcon. This build is sick. I'm going to get to him in a moment, but the hardware in it is an i3-4170, and it's an ASRock H97M ITX motherboard, a Samsung 750 series SSD as far as I can tell, and an SFX power supply. The button on the side is a TNT block, which is sick. All of these little individual blocks are actual small individual blocks, not just carved out of one piece of wood, which is actually pretty fantastic. And some of them are translucent, meaning that you can kind of see some light coming through them. So he has some white and some green ones that have illumination all throughout the case, I guess we can call it for now, or the creeper. Also up through the middle is where a lot of the airflow comes from. So there's fans up here that pull air down from the bottom, there's a fan that pushes air out the back, and there's another big fan that keeps it going up through the top of the computer. So this thing has no lack of airflow at all. How do you go about building these? You told me you built a bunch in the past too.
Yeah. I just use 2,000. I use a 1-inch cubes. They're all wooden. Usually 2,000 to 3,000 depending on the case. And I usually actually plan it out. I build it out in Minecraft actually, and then I take a time lapse building the whole thing up. And then so I usually make a video of just building the whole thing from nothing to everything, painting everything. So
like architectural planning is all done in Minecraft?
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, you could get in some heavier editing programs to do stuff that's like, I started with Minecraft. It gets the job done. I'm not doing anything crazy. It works pretty good. Some red lines for when I'm running the electric. Where the electric goes. Everything. And most of the computer parts are all like almost inches anyway, so it's pretty perfect. It works pretty good. So what's your favorite one of these that you've built? Oh man, my favorite actually I think is the airship. I built a Final Fantasy airship from Final Fantasy 2. It has spinning propellers, and that's my favorite one. That one's pretty sweet. That's sick. And can people check out that build on your YouTube channel? Yeah, that one's on my YouTube channel. They're all on my YouTube channel. This one's not up yet, but it'll be up very soon. If someone wanted to get into doing something like this, how would you recommend they start? I'm actually, for this one, I've made a video, I'm making a video series. I recorded everything about each step of building this. So I'm actually have a little video series going on how to actually make one of these on your own. And it's actually very simple. You don't need you just need wood glue and cubes and very basic tools. No power tools really. I built my first one in an efficiency apartment, no problem. That's awesome. And how do you go about distributing lighting all throughout the case for all the individual translucent panels? Yeah. All right, so all these plastic cubes, I probably have there's probably about 50 on here. I have about a 12-inch cathode tube on each leg, one in the body and then one in the head. Usually I like to have some kind of lighting effect because all computer mods have some kind of lighting going on. So for this one I decided to go with 1-inch cubes with some frost effect to get the light spread out. But they're about 2-inch long cubes, so when the light's going through the inside it hits the side of the cube and then just disperses right down through the side. And that's about it. That's awesome. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see all the rest of our PAX East 2016 content, be sure to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips. Also, thank you to Logitech for bringing us here this year. They have mice, they have keyboards, headsets, racing wheels, whatever you want. Check out the G900, all of that, video description down below. Also, thank you to Discord, who you can't see, but they're back there. They have really cool voice services and text chat services and all that kind of stuff. DDoS protection, it's all free, good to go. Check them out, video description down below. I'll see you guys next time.